Welcome to the EDS Conference 2025. We are here in very sunny Wesley Chapel, Florida, near...
Finally, it's sunny.
Finally, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It did not start this way. I felt like at this like resort, which is like almost like bunkhouses with the rain coming down. I felt like I was in camp.
Yes.
It's like on one of those rain out days and you're like stuck, not doing anything. Yeah, but we've come a long way. I think everyone forgot about that experience, I hope. It might not be in this. It might be in the survey.
My feet are still a little wet, actually.
You feel no, okay, yeah. Some of us had to kind of do the backstroke to our rooms, but yeah. So it's a very nice conference. The EDS has been fantastic. The sessions have been great. I am sitting here with Erik Kessler, the executive director of the Moriah School in New Jersey. How you doing, Erik?
Good, great. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I've known you for a couple of years. I think you used to be director of admissions. Were you director of admissions?
I was the director of admissions and communications at Moriah about 18 years ago, and you were working at Federation at the time.
I was working at the Federation in Northern New Jersey, probably. That would make sense. And I think at the time I was in River Edge, and then ended up moving to
Paramus.
But yes, that was probably where we crossed paths originally. So you've been at how many years have you been now at Moriah?
18 years.
18 years. That's a long time.
Yes.
You get like a Rolex watch or something like that?
I wish.
I know, yeah. In our line of work, I feel like that's like a lifetime, because people do tend to move around positions a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've seen Moriah. You've been through lots of periods of growth, ebbs and flows. I would love to talk to you about the work that you do in development specifically, because from my understanding, you used to have an executive director years and years and years. Director of development years and years and years ago, and then you basically were you did not have one, and maybe you were using lay leadership. It was maybe other stuff kind of stepped in. Our audience is predominantly Jewish day schools. We have about 3,000 listeners from a variety of schools, from right wing to left wing, religiously, politically, everything in between. And the idea of trying to do a lot with a little is obviously an important topic. That, and also the idea that development should be a professionalized role with a lot of things that go into that. And I'd love to hear from you, kind of what led you when you lost that director of development many years ago, not filling the position, what the implications of that were, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and like where things are now. So I think you'll give us a good idea of like, someone who's been down the path already, so that, others can learn from you instead of maybe making, whether it's the same mistakes, opportunities, etc.
My pleasure. So when I first started, we had a development director. We actually went through two in about 5 years. They were both very successful in what they did. But the nature of development directors are that they move on. Yes. They don't stay in one place for a long time. So I believe it was about 12 years ago when our development director announced that she was leaving to go to another position. The board decided not to rehire a development director, but instead hire an events person and then like a database part-time person.
Okay. So nothing. So events might be like community level fundraising, but nothing like focused on major donors.
No,
cultivating.
Nothing on major donors. It was really the annual dinner and the golf outing, maybe another small event in there. And our campaign really stayed the same. It even might have gone up a little. We bring in about 1.3 million a year.
1.3 million.
Yeah, from our dinner. But there was no stewardship happening. There was no donors would say that they obviously got a thank you letter, but they never heard from us again.
Right.
They never...
You're like an ATM machine. You make a withdrawal once a year and you come back.
And look, we had phenomenal lay leaders that were making all the asks for us.
Right.
And they were doing a good job. I don't think there was much strategy. They were just, asking. But there was no point of contact between the annual dinner, possibly the golf outing, and then the next annual dinner.
Right. Because it was all the fundraising was around the anchored fundraising experiences. You hire an events person because you have a dinner, you have a golf outing, and they're playing a role in a siloed way for those campaigns. So they raise the money, but if they're talking about any kind of continuum of care, zero.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And also the relationship with the school is, the lay leader is making the ask then. There's no connection back to the school. So if the lay leader, graduates out of the school or moves on, you lost that connection. There's no consistency, and that was an initiative we were finding.
Also, I mean, the cynic in me goes, the lay leader is not necessarily going to be an amazing solicitor as well.
So I will say that we do have amazing solicitors.
Oh, okay.
We were very lucky that way, which is why we were able to last 10 years without a development director.
Right, you're saying if they would be crashing and burning with the solicitations, that would be a problem real fast.
Right.
Right, because my impression is usually, hi, thank you for your gift of $1,000. Would you consider $1,200? Thank you, goodbye, click. Right? Like that's how I imagine most solicitations, but as opposed to like bring it back about the mission of the organization and what we're doing, having a conversation, right? But usually,
real strategy and thought. that was not happening. And I would say the stewardship, really, that was the biggest piece that we were missing. So we decided 3 years ago to bring it back as development director. It has been life-changing for the organization.
Yeah.
It really has been, because, look, even little things, when you have a grandparent event, or when you, have parents in the school, that we have a photographer that takes pictures of the grandparent with the child. Now, nobody was thinking about that before.
Right.
And there are those little touches that were just never happening. Sending thank you notes, personalized handwritten thank you notes. For it was nice to see you. Thanks for your Parnas Hayom sponsorship. Instead of just getting a tax letter, you're getting a nice thank you.
Right. You're not getting this sterile experience. You're getting something that feels like you're now a partner.
Right.
You made a gift. You're getting touch points. You're hearing from somebody at the organization that acknowledges your existence.
And you're invested.
You're right. Right. And so that means if you want to be able to retain the donor and upgrade their giving, this is the only pathway to do that, is through stewardship.
Definitely.
It's one of those things when people will say, when I talk to other schools, they'll say, we need new donors. And I say, well, guess what, my friend? If you do a good job with retention of your existing donors, your new donors come through them.
Right.
You're not opening up Forbes magazine and pointing to Michael Bloomberg and saying, here's the donor. Right? I mean, you could get lucky, but it's not a good strategy. What the good strategy is, like you were describing, the stewardship aspects of being able to do that.
The development director made sure that every year we have some touch point for grandparents, which is something that we didn't have before. So we instituted, there's an educational side of it, of course, also, that we have now a Rashi event in 3rd grade, but we realized that we were going from the Chumash play in 2nd grade to maybe 4th or 5th grade of not seeing those grandparents. So now we instituted a new 3rd grade program that's been wildly successful.
I think people should think about the entire calendar year holistically, because I was talking to some other professionals. Some schools have the names not numbers program.
We did that in 8th grade.
You did in 8th grade. So kids basically do a documentary of Holocaust survivors, and I'm sure it's getting harder and harder to do such a thing. But they interview it and they create a video, and that some schools do it as an experience for the families, and maybe they raise a little bit of money.
Right.
Some schools take it into a much bigger enterprise. And we have a client in Chicago that was doing names not numbers, but they also had all these yard site donors, people who give it annually, these no-name people that give money for someone to say Kaddish in memory of somebody. And we said, well, why don't you take this list of people who give you annually, you have no relationship with them, and invite them to names not numbers. It's on theme.
Thank you.
And it's just someone to connect the dots and say, they're giving in one capacity. Maybe there's an opportunity to rope them in a bigger way with another touch point. And what ended up happening, there was a number of people who came and were moved and got to see the school. And they've been donating to the school for 20 years, and now they're seeing it firsthand.
Look, we've been able also to move from just a dinner campaign or a golf campaign to an annual campaign, having a development director, which has been very successful, because this way you're not just giving 2 gifts that aren't connected to each other. You don't really understand your bigger giving, but by giving one big gift, one meaningful gift, you're also getting other benefits. So you can come to our dinner, come to the golf outing. You might get a Parnas Hayom. Several things.
I think for those who are listening at home, the idea of moving to an annual campaign model has so many benefits. Some of which is if you have a donor who gives $5,000 to one dinner and $5,000, let's say, to a crowdfunding campaign, what typically is done, they're siloed. So you're okay, they're $5,000 to this campaign, but if you treat them like a $10,000 donor, now you treat them $10,000. They get the same recognition as $10,000 for both of those campaigns, because it's an annual gift. And for the donor's perspective, they view themselves as a $10,000 donor, which means that's their baseline.
And you can start that at the beginning of the year, instead of at least in New Jersey, many of our dinners in the wintertime. If you start your annual campaign fundraising in August or September, they get the benefits of being that high-level donor throughout the year.
Whole year. And you're not running yourself ragged for the 6 weeks before the dinner, because you can make those solicitations year-round. They know it includes all the benefits of the dinner and anything else that's going on, but you don't have to relegate it all to the 6 weeks before the actual event.
Yeah.
And you know what? It ends up freeing you up some more time to say, how do we do a better job with other aspects of our work? Because you're not so in reactive,
and then also you can actually map out a plan for these donors, whether where you want to see them in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years, increasing their annual gift.
So here's one of the things I would love schools to know more about. I'm curious to know if you do any kind of work like this, and maybe this deserves a shout out to your new director of development. What's her name?
Erika Tannenbaum.
Erika
She's
Tannenbaum.
Excellent.
She is. I actually had a Zoom call with her, and her energy is infectious.
fantastic.
I mean, I can only imagine when she applied for the role. You're like, yeah, just sign here.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. She's fantastic. I mean, again, no one's ever accused me of not bringing energy, but I felt like she not only matched it, but like was even exceeding it, which I don't get off. It's like meeting. I'm 6'2", two-ish, and it's like meeting someone who's 6'7". And you're like, oh wow, like that's refreshing. She's an amazing professional. I'm curious to know, now that her focus is much more on the whole experience of the donor. Are you seeing a bigger understanding or investment of understanding the priorities and the values of individual donors, what's important to them? Because it's easy for us to come into a meeting and say, we do this, 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 and can you give some money? But not necessarily focusing on what their priorities are.
I think that by understanding the donors and where their passions are, for example, Erica, through learning about our donors, meeting with them, talking to them, she was able to realize that a donor should be connected to one of our Hanukkah events, that would be meaningful for them. And so that was something that we were never looking for, in the past. We weren't looking for someone to underwrite the Hanukkah event, but she knew that it would be meaningful for this donor, so it worked out for both of us.
Right. Yeah, it's going to happen if you're developing relationships with the actual people instead of just a siloed campaign.
Right.
So you still obviously have to do the campaign events. I'm assuming that's
there's still a lot of work to be done.
I know. There's no way around it. But I think another thing also is to take into consideration that a healthy annual campaign, if we're going to use a school analogy, if you have a large preschool, right, it's usually means long-term health of the school, because the idea is to transition those kids into the
We're very lucky that we have over 300 kids in our early childhood right now.
300?
Over 300.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay, so there you go. And on the analogy for this is in development, an investment in community campaigns shouldn't be like the run to the litter. I mean, that's where you get people in the door.
Right.
One of my mentors says that the first step in getting a major gift is getting their first gift. Which it's funny, because when I was taught, I was like, oh, first step in major gift is get your foot in the door. No. The first gift, even if it's underselling them, they might be a plastic surgeon and can give you $1 million. But if the first entree in is being a grandparents member, a society member at $18 a month, take it, because it gets them in the door. Right. So those events are indispensable. You can't get rid of them, because it's an opportunity to bring a baseline in.
Not just the events, but the societies, the mailings, all the little pieces that you have are meaningful.
Yeah, very, very meaningful. And then the job of the director of development and the executive director is to start cherry picking out people who might be severely undergiving, because now they've already got a foot in the door. There's some level of touch. Right. They're not completely cold. And to say, oh, well, maybe this person has greater capacity. And you could do research and other things, but most importantly is the anecdotal evidence. If you're going, why is this person only giving you $180? Like, good question. Like, what can we do with this person? Maybe they should get a visit to the school.
Right. That personal touch goes so far. By a visit to the school, seeing their grandchildren, seeing, their own children. That is what excites people.
That's amazing. So now that this is, Eric has been in this position for 3 years now.
Yes.
Okay, so is there like big plans for the future? Like, what does it look like as far as growth of the development?
So this is our first year having an annual campaign that Erica moved us to.
Amazing.
So that's very exciting. I think that there will be some growing pains. People that are used to giving their dinner gift or their golf gift.
They'll say, come back to me in 6 months or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think that there's a lot in store in the coming years as we move to an annual campaign, away from just an event-driven campaign.
Do you have like a major gift society or anything like that? Like a branded society for donors above a certain level?
We don't. We just started a grandparent society.
Oh. Huge fan. I'm so happy to hear about that.
We never had one before. This is another one of Erica's initiatives.
Yes.
She has a ton of people already interested in it, and she's doing a mailing, like an annual report just for our grandparents.
Oh,
it's very exciting. Should be out any day now.
See, well, I think sometimes people forget, if they do like a crowdfunding campaign, is they build a campaign that's really for the school. It's not for any specific audience. So what you lose is it feels like spam for people, even if it's from the school. That same material, that grandparent might go, hey, whatever. But if it's something that says like this is for you, they're like, oh.
And what we did was we put pictures and information in it about the grandparent events that we ran during the year. So for a lot of the grandparents, if they were there, if they were not there, they get to see what had happened and the grandparent experience in the school. Yeah,
that's amazing. And one of the things, obviously I would communicate this to Erica, she probably already knows this, is that when you create like kind of a society like this, the idea is to make, there's like a baseline where you want everyone to participate just to be there. You could never take Grandparents' Day and make it like you have to pay to come to Grandparents' Day. Because you'd be like, you'd get raked over the coals for doing something like that. But if grandparents come into Grandparents' Day and they see signage that says join the Nacha Society or something like that, that's a completely different thing. I learned in Federation, like you create something that brings people in the door, but let them know
the Line of Judah, one of the most
Oh
brilliant
my God,
ideas
that's
ever of
the
all time.
greatest marketing initiative ever. I mean, all the stories, like, yeah, I've heard the story of like the woman who didn't make her pledge yet was wearing her pin, and some other woman saw her wearing that pin and tore it off her shirt, saying, "How dare you wear the
So
pin?"
I worked for Federation before I worked for Moriah, and I ran a mission, and a few of the women wearing their lions, and one woman just wanted it for the jewelry.
Yeah.
So she gave a $5,000 donation just to get the lion pin.
Yeah, I mean, for those people who don't know at home, the Lion of Judah pin is a brooch that's on that you put on your clothing. It's a shape of a lion, and it's got a gem in its eye. And depending on the size of your gift, is the type of jewel that is in that eye.
Well, also it has different places to add more jewels. So every year that
Oh,
you're,
right.
this is at least the way it was like
Like
20 years ago.
longevity, like the paw,
Yeah,
the paws. And
you
the
can have it all bedazzled.
body.
Yes. And they also introduced at one point a pomegranate.
Yes, the Pomegranate Society.
Yeah, I think that was 1,800.
$1,800.
Brilliant.
I think it's brilliant. I wonder why they don't do anything for men.
Yeah.
I would wear like a big like class ring or something, like a gaudy class ring.
But I think the Line of Judah was one of the most brilliant campaigns ever.
Brilliant. Whoever that person is, I don't know if they're still alive. I mean, I feel like it's been with Federation for forever.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, I feel like we all look at certain examples like that. It's like the pinnacle of successful branding. But the underlying theme of it is you are getting everyone to participate, but you're seeing that there's this aspirational thing to go after, and you can plug into, and that's whether it's a society, whether it's something like something that you go to a dinner and you have name tag labels that show different statuses. Like, I'm a board member. It doesn't have to be expensive.
Of course.
You just something that just shows distinction, that you're a part of an elite group of people. That you and that is very well received. People understand it.
Definitely.
Oh, great, amazing. Okay, well, Erik, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jonah.
today.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you around town, and looking forward to hearing more. I'm definitely going to hear from Erica. I know that, especially after this podcast.
Definitely.
There's no question that I'm going to get hopefully a positive reaction from her.
I hope so.
All right, very good. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.